move on to the movie review section of our show. And boy, oh boy, do we have a movie to review this week. Nicholas, what did we see?
Scream 6.
Goddamn right, we saw Scream 6.
Hell yeah, boys.
Yes,
Stab 32.
Yes. Scream 6 from the same team that made Scream 5, the Radio Silence guys. The core 4 returning of Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmin Savoy Brown, and
I believe Mason Gooding.
Mason Gooding. That sounds right. I'll go with that. A couple new additions to the cast as well. Off the top of my head, the guy from She-Hulk who played the really nice lawyer.
It is Mason Gooding.
Yes.
Jason Segarra. Josh Segarra.
Josh Segarra. There were other cast members that did really well as well. And, of course, Courtney Cox returning.
Yes.
Being the only person to be in all 6 Scream movies because Neve Campbell, unfortunately, did not return for the movie.
Not the only person returning from the Scream franchise, though.
Correct.
Hayden Panettiere
came back
Kirby.
as Kirby Reed, which was in the marketing, so you can't say we ruined it, and was nice to see. I love seeing movies opening night because it's the people who want to see it.
Yeah.
And so when Kirby coming back got a mild crowd reaction, I was pleased.
This pleases me.
Because on Saturday, that gets no reaction. On Thursday, it does.
On Thursday, people are hyped.
Yes. But,
I'd still get hyped every time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And so let's dive into the movie.
Yes.
No spoilers, of course. We're not going to spoil anything about Scream 6. It's a big part of the movie is that they're whodunits. We're not going to be assholes about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do think, as of now, I reserve the right to change my mind. I do think, as of now, I enjoy Scream 5 a little bit more.
Okay.
But overall, this is a solid entry into the franchise. I probably put it right behind Scream 5. Although then I feel like Scream 4 is too low. Ranking things is tough. But Scream 6, very violent, very gory Scream movie. The opening is really interesting. It's an interesting take on the how you open a Scream movie.
I think it's one of my favorites of the series, I'll be entirely honest.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. Definitely throws you for a loop. The core 4 in the movie are the heart of the movie, especially Mason Gooding.
Yes.
Amazing performance on his part.
He's very much taken on the Dewey role.
Yes. As kind of being the heart of the main people. They start building relationships that I was a big fan of and I thought really worked chemistry-wise. Kirby, Hayden Panettiere, I thought did a great job. It was nice to see her back, and they did different things with her character, but makes sense, at least to me. I thought the suspense was on point in this movie.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite Scream moments in the entire franchise, and they show it a little bit in the trailer. It's the sequence with a ladder across 2 apartment buildings in New York.
See, that was very good. My personal favorite was the one that's also in the trailer, which is the subway
The subway scene. That was good, too. Yeah. No, having it in New York was interesting. It didn't harp on it too much, which I'm actually happy with because the marketing was getting a little annoying of just like, I get it, it's in New York City.
I want you to know that this is Scream in New York.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if they did that, but it was set in a ski lodge, I wouldn't mind it.
Yes. And you did get a Jason Takes Manhattan reference in the movie.
You're goddamn right I did.
Yes, so yeah, the only one of the only negatives I have for the movie is there are some I'm going to be really vague because I don't want to spoil anything. There are some situations that they put the characters in solely because wouldn't it be cool if, and I don't necessarily buy the story reason as to why they're there in that situation.
Okay.
Particularly in the third act. I also, to me, and I know everyone's going to feel differently, to me, you feel Neve Campbell's absence.
I didn't.
I know. But to me, you can tell that this story was supposed to have Sydney in it. Like, unlike Creed 3, which when I was watching that movie, I didn't feel like Rocky even belonged in that movie. I could tell that this was a script that had to be rewritten to not have Sydney in it.
I guess can't really go into spoilers. Like where she would have fit into the...
I think the same place she would have fit in last time.
Okay. There.
Yeah. Or there's one more situation where I think she could have come in. But which I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah. But overall, really enjoyed the movie. Pacing was on point, action was on point, scares were on point, and of course the comedy on point. Thoughts on Scream 6?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, as I do with the entire franchise.
We love the
Scream.
franchise.
I really like radio silence's direction.
Oh my god. Sorry, guys.
I thought that the New York setting provided a really cool dynamic place for it.
Sorry.
Okay.
That came out of fucking nowhere. It just fucking fell. All right, we're good.
I thought that setting the movie in New York was a fun premise. It was really a big part of the marketing, but when it came down to it, it didn't really feel pivotal to the story. New York didn't feel like a character in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And until there was something very obvious, like when they're on a subway or walking through Central Park, or you see the whatever building.
Yes.
What's the big one?
The Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building. You know, when you see that and you're like, oh yeah, they're in New York. But that being said, like the way that they have to go about the killings, because there's not really secluded places in New York, I thought was interesting. Like how like sequences play out because of that. Specifically also the bodega scene, which is in the trailers.
Yeah.
Is so cool because you're just like, oh, they're just going for it.
Yeah.
Which you also see in the trailer. Ghostface with a shotgun fucking rules.
Yeah.
And even the directors were like, why? Because I know that got some online of
yeah.
like, well, why doesn't he use a knife? They're like, look at this shot. You're going to tell me that's not cool and horrifying? I personally didn't feel Neve Campbell's absence from the movie. I thought Courtney Cox did a great job. I've always liked Gail Weathers character. Mm-hmm. My main kind of issues go into the ones at the first one. I don't care for Melissa Barrera's performance. I think she did a lot better in this one. The first one, she kind of took me in and out of the movie, whereas this one kind of goes on her own. I just think they're afraid. It seems like they're afraid to go too far into the storyline that they've been setting up.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to play it safe, and she's giving a very reserved performance because of that.
Yeah.
And like we said, I love Jasmin Savoy Brown's character. She's sort of taken on the Randy role, which I love, and I love her monologue about the rules in this one. Mason Gooding is the heart of this movie. I think he does a great performance, and he was my favorite character in the first one, so I was happy to see him again in this one. And Jenna Ortega is Jenna Ortega. She's fantastic and does a great job in it. When it comes down to the reveal at the end of the movie, it was an interesting direction that they went in.
Yes.
And I think some of it worked for me, and some of it did not work for me.
Also, yes.
I very much liked the motivation behind it, and I thought that was an interesting thing to bring to the franchise. I'll leave it at that before I go any farther.
Yes, it was interesting.
And ultimately, the biggest thing is I feel like it didn't... It repeats... To me, it felt like it repeated a lot of beats of this first one, which I didn't necessarily care for this time, which I can't really...
Yeah, it's hard to be vague, but yeah.
When you see the movie, you'll see okay, they kind of did that in the last one in a different version of it.
Yeah.
But they didn't go about trying to have a meta-ness to it, which is usually how the Scream franchise writes off that sort of idea.
Also, lots of very subtle story beats and homages to Scream 2, which I was all about because I love Scream 2.
Scream 2 very good.
Yes, and I liked that they did that because it's the requel sequel, so that was fun.
Ooh, we're getting a requel, threequel, because they did confirm Scream 7 is in production, or greenlit. Greenlit, sorry, yes. Overall recommend?
Oh,
absolutely.
Highly recommend.
Yes.
Highly recommend.
Love a good time at the movies.
Great time at the movies.
And that's what we like.
Absolutely. Love Scream 6. Love the Scream franchise. I'm all about it.
And I love the new cast.
Yes.
I really do. They grew on me a lot, this movie.
I love them as well. And I'm glad that they're going to be moving forward because they all seem like they're having fun. And hopefully we can get Neve back one more time. Just for me. Just get her back one more time. Never kill her. I will say, one of my all-time favorite movie franchises. If they kill Sidney Prescott, I'm done.
Yeah, you can't
really do it. I'm done.
Even if she's never in one again.
Even if it's the last Scream movie. That's it. You can't do it.
Interesting.
Just because the whole point of her is that she survives. That's like the whole thing of her whole entire everything built around that character is no matter the trauma, no matter what she goes through, she always, even if she doesn't win, she lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like doesn't matter how much you throw at it, it would come across the wrong way if she didn't make it out. Even if it was heroic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, highly recommend Scream 6. Definitely go watch it. It's an amazing film.